Hey guys, welcome to episode 2 of Stronghold Crusader Mechanics 101. Last week we focused on height advantage. Today is going to be all about stances. If you want more information about anything in particular, head along to Twitch. I stream every weekend, twice a weekend. The exact times will be on the stream linked below in the description. Or you can just comment on this video and let me know there and we can now discuss that. As mentioned earlier, today is unit stances. This is fairly well known in most games. However, in Stronghold Crusader, it sets it to stand ground by default, and a lot of people don't really know what the point of changing that is. So that's what we're going to cover today, why you should change your unit stance and how to do so. So you can see the unit stances down here in the bottom left above the command box. So you've got stand ground, you've got defensive stance, and you've got aggressive stance. You can change these just by clicking on the box. As you can see, it outlines the mode that you're at, or you can use the Q, W or E buttons respectively to change that. We'll be going into exactly what this whole map is looking at in a moment. For now, all you need to know is that this guy is standing in the middle of this big box area, and you can see exactly how many tiles it is. We've got the stone going to plus, the iron is showing every 10 tiles, so you can figure out see exactly where everything is. The first stance we have is stand ground. Stand ground is the default option for all units when you create them. When a unit is on stand ground, he will not attack for any purpose. As you can see, the slave can run right around and not be engaged. By default, the engagement distance is 2. So if I go right here, that's 2 tiles away. You can see that the maceman never left his tile to kill that unit. And we got just 1 tile out, he wouldn't move for it. This is particularly useful for when you're wanting a unit to do a specific task and not get distracted. For example, you want to take out the enemy granary. You want to have your units on stand ground so that they'll go to the granary and take out the granary and not go get sidetracked. Our second option is defensive stance. On defensive stance, a unit will move to attack any units that is within 5 tiles of their current location. So in this particular grid, that is this particular line of desert right here. I'll put a slave right here. He will not move, still not moving, and then the moment I go to this next tile in, that maceman will attack. Now what I'll do next is I'm going to put a knight. So I'm going to show you exactly what happens if the unit moves. As you noticed, the maceman went back to his start location once he killed the unit. So I'm going to go to that, starts, move out, he goes back. He's always going to return to the start location, will not chase this unit behind. Defensive stance is particularly useful when you've got units trying to defend your lord or defending a certain path into your base, and you want them sitting there able to take out any raiding assassins or slaves that try to run past. They can quickly deal with any units within that area and then move back so they're ready for the next wave. Defensive stance is also useful for defending units. However, due to that short range of the short target range, it's not necessarily going to be useful, as some units may be too far. So if we bring in these 9 macemen to deal with these archers, as you can see, these macemen, only a couple of them coming out to attack at a time. So I'm able to clear out all these archers before the macemen come in to attack. So in a large group, defensive stance not overly useful. Now on aggressive stance, the range is much increased. The unit on aggressive will attack units within 25 tiles and buildings within 15 tiles. So we get this slave. He's going to come in. So 25 is this line of desert here. I'll stand right on it. There he goes, chasing him down. And then he'll return to his start location. Now if we move the unit that the maceman is going for, let's watch out what happens there. moving. Let's get this guy over here. Note that he goes to the original location of the unit that he originally triggered to, and then goes and finds where the unit has moved to. So he's targeting the map location, not the unit. So he's not going to chase the unit as the unit moves. He'll go to wherever the unit is. Now that will just quickly show you what happens if there is another unit in range. He'll hit the unit, and then he'll come out and find this other unit and kill him off. And then he'll go back. So with this method, you could actually easily use a faster moving unit, like say a knight, to constantly keep this maceman moving. He goes there, you move over here. He comes over there, we move up there. You can constantly run around in circles, have that maceman forever chasing you down. One thing to note is that a unit, when it's triggered, when it's on aggressive, will move faster than a unit that is just targeted to attack. So for example, I'm going to put this spearman there. You are going to be aggressive. See him run? Whereas this guy goes much, much slower. That is because the unit will always run on aggressive. However, when you are targeting some units, in particular, assassins, monks, and spearmen walk all the time. The only time they run is when they're on aggressive and triggered. The other thing to note is that aggressive stance affects buildings as well, but it is a lot lower range. So for units, it was 25 range. That would have been attacking here. He is not attacking. We'll put him here at 16 tiles, still no movement. We'll move in a tile earlier, so that's at 15 tiles. He's going to walk up to destroy that building. And then again, once he's finished the job, he'll go find another target. Until he runs out of targets. Once he's out of targets, he'll return back to the last place he was triggered from. This is what I mean by forgetting. He's forgotten where he started from. If he continuously used units, he would have returned to the start location. However, because he hit a building, he forgot. It's a bit of a weird situation about where they moved to, but it is what it is. The question is, that limit of 35 tiles, how does that actually affect when it's on a diagonal? That's why I've got this square set up. That 25 tiles is right here. As you can see, he will not be triggered. We'll move right in, still not triggered. He doesn't get triggered to about here. Now, that's what this bit here is. All these rocks here shows you the area in which this maceman would automatically target a unit. As you can see, it's roughly a circle. It's not exactly well done, but this depends on how the programming works to get it. But as long as it's within that 35 tile circle, that is where he will target. This is a particularly useful stance when you're trying to raid the opponent's economy. You can send a group of assassins or slaves or macemen or whatever you want to send into the enemy's base, click them onto aggressive stance, and they will spread out, destroying buildings and stuff without you having to manually target each one. And so you can then spend your time on another army which is coming at the front to keep your opponent's army from being able to respond to your raid. So definitely worthwhile there. Alternatively, it is useful for defense. As you recall earlier, these guys here, these macemen, were unable to defend those archers that were just in front because of the small range. However, as you can imagine, switching them onto aggressive will allow them to run out to defend your units at a much larger distance. One shortfall of this is that it's easy to draw a unit well away from whatever they're trying to defend. So if you're trying to use it for defense, you could easily bring units in, draw the units away, and then send whatever they were trying to defend against through behind them. By default, units on aggressive will target military units first, buildings second, and workers last. The interesting part is that the units will target military units as individuals, however they target buildings as a group. So sometimes if you select a group and put them onto aggressive, you'll have one or two running off to get a military unit, and then the group will decide to target a building which is closer, and those units that are off chasing down a military unit will stop chasing that down and turn around and come back to destroy the building with the rest of them. So just a bit of a odd quirk of the programming there. Definitely one to keep in mind if you're trying to use this in an opponent's base. Some units have unique abilities that are also affected by the aggressive stance or defensive stance. In particular, spearmen will charge down ladders on walls regardless of stance. Even if they're on stand ground, I mentioned earlier, stand ground, they will not move to attack. Spearmen are the exception to the rule. They will charge down a ladder to destroy the ladder. Engineers with boiling pots have a lower threshold at which they will throw their boiling oil. One myth that I have heard about unit stances is that archers on aggressive stance will light pitch automatically, whereas on stand ground they don't. As far as I've been able to tell, they won't. In this case, I'll show you my test. We have a bunch of European archers up here. There are 10 of them. There are some braziers there, you can just see, and a lot of pitch. We are going to attack them with 12 knights. That's definitely enough to trigger any threshold limit. We're going to run right over all that burning pitch, and you see none of it gets lit. Now there is the possibility that maybe it's just Arabian archers. Alright, so let's try that again with Arabian archers. Let's make sure that they are set to aggressive, and then let's send these 12 knights straight over this pitch. If that pitch was going to be lit, this is when it's going to be lit, and as you can see, it is not being lit. But however, if we manually get that unit to target the pitch, it will light. So it's not that it's not lightable, it's simply that on aggressive, archers do not automatically target the pitch switches, and they don't on any stance. There is no case that I've been able to find where a archer will automatically light pitch. As you can see, unit stances can allow the game engine to handle some of your micro for you. Sometimes this is a good thing, such as when you're trying to raid with some units and you don't want to actually spend all your time focusing down all the building. Some of the time it's not so good. You might want a unit defending a certain area, you don't want them being drawn way over, you just want them to stand there. So therefore, using the stances effectively is important. However, it is definitely worth knowing these different features and knowing when to use them and practicing using them in your own gameplay. Thanks for hanging around to the end of the video. If you like that, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to my channel so you know when I get more videos out. If you have any questions about this or about any other game mechanic, feel free to ask in the comments below or head along to my Twitch stream. I stream every weekend, twice a weekend. The exact times will be on the linked page in the description below. Until next time, keep crusading. No other game has what Crusader has. Crusader, it's a balance between castle simulator and real-time strategy, but the way it balances it is really well done for a strategy game. And I quite like how it has done that. No other game has managed to achieve it. Even all the rest of the games made by all the rest of the Stronghold games, they've all leaned too much into the simulator game side.